In a time when disco ruled the airwaves and bell-bottoms were the height of fashion, something radical was brewing in the dingy basements and garages across the globe. The origins of punk rock was like nothing the music scene had encountered before. With its raw energy, rebellious spirit, and an unapologetic DIY ethos, punk was the meteor that crashed into the ocean of mainstream music, causing waves that still ripple today. Let's set the stage in the mid-1970s. Music was polished, lyrics were sometimes fluffy, and everyone seemed to agree that bigger stages, bigger hair, and more colourful lights were the future of entertainment. However, deep in the heart of New York City, at a dive bar called CBGB, something drastically different was happening. Bands like the Ramones and television were stripping everything down to its bare essentials. Fast guitars, concise songs, and a disdain for the excesses of rock at the time. It was raw, it was real, and goodness gracious, it was loud. Let's teleport to London next, where the economic situation was as bleak as the weather. Young folks were frustrated, and that frustration needed to be vented. Enter the Sex Pistols. With Johnny Rotten's snarling vocals and Sid Vicious's ever-present sneer, they became the voice of disaffected youth everywhere. Their performances were chaotic, and their music was the equivalent of a musical Molotov cocktail tossed at the establishment. And in Australia, the Saints were cooking up their own brand of punk magic. Far from the epicenters of New York and London, the Saints were creating sonic storms that would soon be heard across continents. I'm Stranded became an anthem, international yet intensely local, thanks to the island's innate rebelliousness against the man and the ocean. What made punk so appealing was not just the sound, but also the attitude. Punk was a fierce middle finger to authority. It didn't care about polish or perfection. You didn't need to be a maestro. You just needed passion and a few chords. That's what the classic punk mantra was all about. Pick up a guitar, learn 3 chords, and form a band. It wasn't just music, it was a movement. Punk fashion broke from the norm, with ripped clothes, leather jackets, mohawks, piercings, and a heck of a lot of safety pins. If society disapproved, then punks revelled in that disapproval. Of course, punk couldn't be contained for long. Its influence spread beyond music to art, literature, and politics. Punk zines popped up like mushrooms after a rainstorm, spreading the gospel of rebellion far and wide. And band logos became badges of honor for a generation of youth who wanted to stand up and be heard. So here's to punk rock, a glorious, rowdy, and rebellious sound that shook the world and continues to echo in hearts that dare to beat to a different drum. Whether it's listened to on a crackling vinyl record or streamed on the latest tech, punk rock's raw call to individuality and rebellion is a timeless reminder that sometimes rules were made to be broken.